My name is Clara. I am from Tampico, though I left Durango years ago. My story begins when I was just a teenager. We were 3 friends, Mariana, Nayeli and I, and one night we decided to play with a Ouija board. It's the first time in a long time that I tell this experience. Back then I never wanted to talk about it, and we swore not to tell anyone for fear of reliving what happened. At that time I was about 13, Mariana and Nayeli were 14. We were very close, best friends and partners in every bit of nonsense teenagers do. One of those reckless things was when Mariana bought a Ouija. We argued about who would keep the board, and because we had heard so many stories about it, we made a plan. Nayeli would play and I would keep it. The first time we tried it at Nayeli's house, her brother Beto wanted to go first. With a proud look he tried to move the planchette but it wouldn't react. On the second attempt it began to move without any pattern. Panic crossed Beto's face when he saw it move without being touched. He kept going at first, but he became serious, stood up, and left the room saying he didn't want to play anymore. We decided to stop that night. The next evening I went back to Nayeli's house ready with questions. We agreed to play and when I arrived Mariana was already there. Out of fear she decided only to watch. She had a very young brother and believed playing could affect him. So Nayeli and I took the planchette and started. The change in Nayeli was immediate. She went from cheerful to pale and silent, her face hard and angry. I tried to warn Mariana with my eyes, but she didn't notice. The planchette moved erratically, never settling on letters, just moving. I thought Nayeli was faking it, so I decided we should stop and we left for a walk. On the street her coldness was eerie. She stopped in front of cars and drew a heart with the letters N and J that surprised us. She wasn't the kind of person to show that. She became colder, more serious, sarcastic and despotic. We were bothered, but she was our friend. When she left she said goodbye without empathy. 3 days passed before we saw her again. On the 4th day Nayeli came to me with an anxious look and asked to play again. I took the Ouija from her house and she grabbed it quickly. She sat on the floor, crossed her legs and began. After that, every day during the week she played with us. It turned into an obsession for her and a torment for Mariana and me. We didn't know how to help our friend. Our characters were changing without our realizing it. Something was happening to us. The worst thing that happened to me was one night at home. My mother was sleeping and I watched her for a long time. Suddenly she began to flail, as if feeling something on her neck. She woke up terrified, struggling to breathe. She looked at me with fear and said, You almost hanged me." I froze. The force left me and I ran to her, hugging her and asking for forgiveness for being a bad daughter. After a while I agreed with the others to meet again and play. That night I had to go on the planchette. I asked the usual questions. Who are you? Where are you from? What's your name? The planchette spelled J-O-H-S. In that moment Mariana and I understood. It was John. The N and J we had seen on the car meant something else. We felt terrible, because Nayeli seemed attached to whoever this was, dead or worse. After thinking a lot, Mariana and I decided to destroy the board. We thought it was causing dangerous things and we wanted to keep Nayeli away from it. Mariana took the board to her house and we prepared to burn it. We went to the balcony near the altar of the Virgin of Guadalupe. Mariana believed the Virgin would protect us. We had alcohol, holy water and a rosary. While Mariana went inside, I stayed on the balcony watching the street. A sudden panic hit me, and then I felt the cold weight of a stare. It was Nayeli behind the stairs, watching me with a look I will never forget, psychotic, full of hatred. Her face was twisted with anger. I was paralyzed as she leapt at me, snatched the box from the table violently, pulled out the Ouija, and threw the planchette off the balcony. She turned to me and said in her normal voice, "His name is John Henson. He was 14 and his father strangled him. Then she ran down the stairs and disappeared between buildings. Mariana came out and, realizing what had happened, scolded me for letting Nayeli take the board. A neighbor who had heard the commotion came out too. Seeing what we intended to do, he took the board from us and said in a shocked voice, "I'm going to burn it for you." "Really, what are you idiots doing?" He walked down with the board and we followed. We reached a vacant lot where there was a pit used to burn garbage. The neighbor placed the board in the hole. Before he poured alcohol on it, Nayeli appeared with the planchette, grabbed the board and began to move the planchette across it. You, cough, goodbye. Then she put the board back into the hole. The neighbor poured the alcohol and threw a match. The horror on our faces was complete when the board did not burn. It was scorched and covered with dirt, but it did not catch fire. We were terrified, not just by the message but because maybe we could never get rid of it. We had written our names in the corners of the board. The neighbor, frightened, told us to get rid of it as soon as possible and left. We never saw him again, and we never learned what happened to the board. Time went by and the message haunted us. We imagined 1,000 terrible things and thought we might die because of it. So we turned to religion. Nayeli and I started reading the Bible and, slowly, things improved. Nayeli's personality returned. A year later, on December 12th, the three of us went our separate ways. Nayeli moved to Ciudad Juarez, I went to Tuxpan, and Mariana stayed in Tampico. We separated physically, but our hearts were still connected and we remained uneasy about the number 12. Years later I lived in Poza Rica with a roommate. One afternoon she was waiting for me. I was lying on my back when she came close with a strange face and a morbid smile. She crouched and said, "Hello?" A chill ran through me. I told her no and locked myself in my room. I packed my bags and as soon as I could I returned to Tampico. The first thing I did was go back to God and ask forgiveness for my sins and for playing with the board and whatever chased us. Since then I suffer from insomnia, migraines, anxiety and hallucinations. Sometimes I surprise myself asking strange questions into the air. I don't know the fate of the others, but I sense they suffer as I do. I pray every day that God will free us from whatever pursues us and forgive our mistakes.